There we go. We are live. What's up, business nerds? Happy Wednesday night. I'm looking at my phone because I got to get us going in all the right places here. Bobby, this is a 3-show day for me. If I start, saying stupid shit and losing my voice, this is my 3rd episode of the day. I have a radio show that I do every Wednesday afternoon.
Wow.
We had a bonus episode for a convention that's coming up, and just some friends want to help promote their thing that they got going on. First year of a new maid service convention.
Okay.
So I'm cranking. Either I'm going to be an awesome host because I'm just in the flow, or you're going to be like, Dan, you're the worst host ever. And I'll be like, yeah, I'm just beat, man.
I'm down for crazy shit too, though. So crazy shit sounds good to me.
That's what I'm talking about. Good, because I got this Busch Light in front of me, and I put 3 more in my little mini fridge here, so I'm ready.
Wow, you classed it up.
I just
Busch Light.
Busch Light, and they're 16 ounces.
They're
16 ounces. And
at least it's not an OE 40,
it could be real bad. It could be real bad, but this is what I had in the fridge. But I did class up the joint. I have a collared shirt with a branded logoed shirt. I'm not trying to impress you at all. Don't get the wrong idea. I had a networking event this morning, in person, and I felt like I should, dress up a little bit and look professional.
Well, I did wear one of my top 3 cleanest t-shirts, so I kind of dressed up too.
You did. This is really coming full circle, because on my radio show I like to do random ass segments, and the segment we did today was top 3, and anybody could pick any top 3. Mine was my top 3 favorite worst clients. Because there's those clients where it's hilarious how bad of clients they are, and they're never clients for that long, and they just didn't tell you when they signed up for your service that they were crazy. Eventually, you're like, oh shit, this isn't a good client, and we got to part ways with them. So that was my top 3. Your top 3 could have been my top 3.
Top 3 most cleanest t-shirts for today.
T-shirts. that sounds like something I would say when I'm out ice fishing, and I'm like, yeah, I'm still wearing the clothes that I was wearing yesterday and possibly the day before, but I might have turned them inside out. But when you're sitting out ice fishing and to paint the picture, you're out winter camping in an RV that's heated, and you're pretty stationary. You're right. You get up to take a leak, you get up to throw a pizza in the oven, you maybe go to the bar, maybe. You don't have to. It might be 20 below and windy outside, so you might just stay. You might get up to fill the generator with gas, bundle up. But if an average day is 10,000 steps, you're lucky to hit 1,000 when you're out in the fish house. And so at most, you're inside out, and just you bring a bag of clothes, but you never why dirty another thing? You didn't do anything the whole time anyway.
Man, I live a block from the beach. The only time I put on shoes is to walk to the gym. I wear flip-flops every single day for everything. So yeah, t-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops, that is my daily uniform. I'm not exaggerating. The only time I put on regular shoes is to go to the gym. That's it.
You're doing something right. You got a program figured out. We talked a couple weeks ago, just before you came on here, just to get the lay of the land, and one of the things that struck me as very different about you compared to most humans that I interact with is you're all over the place. You are all over the place very intentionally. Where are you at right now?
So I'm in Mexico, Playa del Carmen. So I have 3 home bases, 3 different countries, 3 home bases. But I do, in addition to just moving between my 3 homes, I do travel quite a lot. I could tell you this year, obviously I'll be in the U.S., obviously Mexico, because I'm here now.
Yeah.
For sure I'll be in Latvia in the summer, which is my other home base. I'll be in Bulgaria. I think I'll be in Hungary. I'm pretty sure I'll be in Australia, probably New Zealand. I'll probably be in Thailand later this year. And Italy. Pretty sure I'll be in Italy at some point this year.
Do you have a favorite place that you've ever been? Like, is there one spot where you're like, that one time in this one place, this one thing? Is there like a thing that stands out of a place?
There's a lot of places that stand out like that as like really good for certain things. But like I look at things like this. I travel a lot. I've actually lived in 10 different countries. I've been to, I don't know, probably 80-ish countries. In the US, I've been to 47 states. And there are a few places that really stand out, but for specific things. Like I just mentioned Bulgaria. Like Bansko, Bulgaria is like an amazing little town. It's like have you ever been like in Colorado or something, and you got these small like ski towns like Steamboat Springs or Breckenridge?
Yeah, you like
or
drive
something
up
like
in
that?
the mountains and you're like, oh, there's a population up here. How'd
Yep.
they get?
So Bansko is like that. It's in the mountains. They're big mountains, really big mountains. It's a small little downtown, but it's one of the most beautiful downtown, like little mountain towns I've ever seen anywhere. It makes like Steamboat Springs or Breckenridge look like a dump. Like it's such a beautiful, beautiful place, and at like 1/4 the price. Like everything is 1/4 the price. Like sometimes I go to dinner. If I'm in Bansko, I'll go to Bansko later this year, but I'll go in the summertime, not ski season. But sometimes I'll go to dinner like with a friend, and the bill comes, and I'm like, this can't be right. Like,
Yeah, you guys missed something.
yeah, you guys left like half the entrees off or something, and I can't read Bulgarian. Well, technically I can read Bulgarian, but I don't understand most of it.
Yeah.
Well, Bulgarian is a Cyrillic language like Russian, so technically I can read it because I can read Russian, but it's not the same language. So I can read the sounds, but I don't know what they say. Like
yeah, I can make the noises.
Yes, I can read like the Cyrillic alphabet, but I have no idea what it says.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bansko is really great. Playa del Carmen, I absolutely love it. It's a super touristy town, but living here, it's so great because everything is in the downtown area. You can walk everywhere. I don't have a car here. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's so many good restaurants down here. You have to get off like the main touristy road to get to them, but there's so many great places to go here. And I just love it here.
I was showing my 9 and 7-year-old a map, and last year we went to Costa Rica for spring break, and I was trying to show them like where that is relative to. I do some fishing on the Pacific side of Mexico, and I was like, it's like you think of it as south and like right next to each other, but like it's really far away actually. And then we're going out, and I told you last time we're going outside of Cancun for spring break this year, just some family friends. And I was looking at it, and I was like, oh damn, like I'm in Minneapolis right now. I'm curious, are you in Eastern time or Central time? Like what time zone do you end up in? Because it looks like it kind of bows and like I envision Mexico as west just because of where it starts. And by the time it like loops around, it's like East Coast.
Yeah, it's East Coast time zone.
It's crazy. It's just like it doesn't. My brain doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. It's supposed to be west. It's supposed to be west to me.
Well, like you know, Mexico kind of curves, you know, and
it's got a big hook to it.
Yeah, and you've got the little peninsula that like what's it called?
I know what you're talking about.
Where Cancun is, and Playa del Carmen, and Yucatan, the Yucatan Peninsula.
There you go.
Yeah, and it sticks out even further. So actually, like a flight from Cancun to like Miami, I think it's less than a 2-hour flight.
I was gonna say
it's like an hour and a half flight.
Just a little bump.
Yeah, it's like an hour. I think I'm pretty sure it's less than a 2-hour flight from Cancun to Miami. Even like when I came here a couple weeks ago from North Carolina, I had a flight from Charlotte to Cancun. It's only a 3-hour flight from Charlotte.
That's not bad at all.
Three and change, like 320 or something.
Did you go down to Mexico just to avoid the stupid weather that we're all having up here? That was strategic.
See, it was not an intentional plan. It was just a happy luck.
Yeah.
But like Playa del Carmen is since 2020 has been my winter home. Anyway, so I mean, I was in North Carolina for Christmas for family stuff. That's where I'm originally from, and so I come here anyway. I mean, I was coming mid-January, no matter what.
Heck yeah.
I realized I was like I have a home in Latvia, and I've had a home base there since 2011, and I was living there like mostly with trips back to North Carolina and other travels and stuff. But I was living there mainly up until 2020, and then the world shit the bed with COVID, and I didn't want to get the vaccine. I refused to get the COVID vaccine, and in Europe, like in Latvia, you had to have the vaccine passport to do anything.
Okay.
You had to have like on your phone. You had to have like the QR code for the vaccine passport on your phone. If you didn't have it, you couldn't go to a restaurant, a shopping mall, the movies. You couldn't do anything other. The only thing you could do actually was go to the grocery store and the pharmacy, and even the doctor. You couldn't go to the doctor unless it was emergency. Like they wouldn't even let you go into the doctor. So basically, Mexico was. I was a COVID refugee. That's why I came to Mexico.
Yeah.
Because Mexico was completely free. You didn't have to get tested to enter Mexico back then. Well, you don't now, obviously, but you didn't have to do the PCR test.
Yeah.
There was no vaccine requirements. We didn't even wear masks for nothing at all. Like, so I was a COVID refugee.
It's probably way better. Everybody dished it out a little bit.
Well, I just came here. Basically, I came here to escape COVID, and then I realized, actually, it's pretty cool living a block from the beach in the wintertime.
Yeah, actually, it's all right.
Yeah, it's actually not bad at all to avoid, snowy, ice cold weather all winter, and then I can wear flip flops and shorts and t-shirt every day.
Program. You got to run the program.
I just kind of stick with it now.
Like in Europe, were the vaccines the same? Like, was it the same as the U.S. vaccines, or is it different drug companies, or what? Like, what were they pushing?
Well, Pfizer was still the big one.
Okay.
But then there was also Moderna, and there was one Russian one I forget what that one was called. But that one, they axed it pretty quickly. They had some health issues, like some testing with it came back bad. And then there was another one. There was Pfizer, Moderna, and there was a third one that also got like axed on the cutting board there pretty quickly because it was causing a lot of health problems. Like right off the bat, it was causing problems. So yeah, it was mainly the same, Pfizer and Moderna.
I didn't know what I expected, but I was like, did they have different stuff? Was it our government just pushing like these things out of incentives to promote whatever? But
the incentives were crazy. There were incentives. I will not mention names, but I had a friend of mine that was a pretty high level doctor for what's that big hospital chain. I probably shouldn't name names, so I won't name the name anyway. But he said
hospital chain.
Yeah, we'll just call it hospital chain. But he told me they were told in their like daily meetings that if anybody had tested positive for COVID and they died, the cause of death you had to mark it as COVID. So basically, if somebody had a heart attack but they also tested positive for COVID, they had to mark it on the worksheet as cause of death was COVID.
Yeah, they got paid so much to do it.
They got paid. Like that's not conspiracy theory. Like that's legitimate. They really were paid money for every COVID death. So it only makes sense if you're the administrator of a hospital and they say, well, you don't get anything if somebody dies from a heart attack, or we'll give you $2,000 if they die from COVID. And they come in and they test positive for COVID. You're like,
COVID.
COVID,
we had a family.
I'd probably do the same thing, to be honest, if I was a hospital administrator.
Yeah, it was poorly run. We had a family friend whose his dad passed away, and like passed away. I don't remember if it was cancer or what it was, but like had a thing for a long time and was battling it for a long time. And eventually like it got him, but he also got COVID. And so like the doctors asked the son who's like in his 60s, 70s, like he's my dad's age. It was like, that was our family friend. His old man passed away. And the doctors begged him to let them put it down as a COVID death. And he said no. He said no, and they still did. Like it was like, oh, this is what's happening. Like the incentive is so strong that like whatever the case is it's just follow the money. Follow the money.
You think how much that skewed the data coming out of the U.S., the CDC data coming out of the U.S. And if every hospital was doing that, well, obviously the data is going to report that we have a gazillion deaths from COVID. But I mean, sure, obviously we had deaths from COVID, right? Obviously. But it was definitely a very, very inflated data set.
It makes, I mean, like, we're both business people, and I stare at bookkeeping stuff all day, and I see like numbers fooling people all the time, right? Like the numbers are only as good as who prepares them and who reports them. And the classic, like, you can make any stat say anything, right? You just got to grab the right piece of the data and manipulate it the right way. But it does make me really curious what actually the data is. We'll never know. But like, what
not really.
Actually, how bad was it? Because I know people that were impacted by it, like not immune to that. Like it was real, but was it really like? Is it? I mean, like the precautions that we all took, like in hindsight, is like, man, did we just get duped? Like, do we get duped?
Oh, 100% we got duped. 100% we got duped because. I mean, I was down here in Mexico every winter from 2020 and still until now. And there was no, like, this part of Mexico had a very low instance of COVID deaths, very, very low. And of course, people would say, oh, but Mexico doesn't track the data well. Well, I mean, they got hospitals just like every other country, and they mark the cause of death just like every other country. I don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
They just didn't have an incentive to give bullshit data. Like, they didn't have any incentive for that. There was no magic man in the sky paying them an extra, couple $1,000 per COVID death. So they didn't have any incentive to do it. And like, I'm telling you, at least in this part of Mexico where I was, or where I am, like, nobody was wearing masks at all, like anywhere. Like, there's none of it. I do remember, I take that back. I remember going to Walmart a couple of times, and they had the guy at the door that would tell you to put the mask on. And you put the mask on, not exaggerating, you take like 2-3 steps into the door, you take it back off, and nobody said a word. Nobody's walking around with masks on in the store. Like, I mean, people were like, everything was normal. Restaurants were normal. Nobody was spreading tables out 3 meters apart, like none of that weird stuff that we were doing in Europe or in the US.
It was weird, man.
And nobody was, guess what? We didn't have bodies piling up on the street of COVID victims. We didn't have full hospitals of people dying of COVID. People just lived like they did every other year of their life. And people died of something, just, like people died of something all the time.
It seemed weird to me that we wouldn't have just like looked at the nurses and their prevalence to get it and die from it. Like, they're around it nonstop, right? If it's so relentless and it's killing everybody, like, let's just look at the nurses. They can't avoid it. They're out there. They're on like the front lines, right?
Right.
They all seem to be doing fine. Like, they're exposed to it all the time. I don't know any. Like, most of the nurses I know never got it because they just had constant exposure. Like, man, it's funny, like how we overreact to stuff like that. Sometimes the media can get us so stirred up and.
Well, I mean, not even to that point, but it's like I had friends telling me, "Oh man, I would love to travel, but I really just can't. I mean, it's COVID and you can't travel and you can't fly anywhere nowadays. And I was scratching my head going, like, I went to 15 countries in 2021. Like, what do you mean you can't travel? Now, to be fair, I was on a lot of empty airplanes, but I still went and I didn't have any problem. I never had the vaccine. I never got the vaccine. I traveled everywhere I wanted to go. Maybe some countries wouldn't let you in without the vaccine. I don't know. Apparently I didn't go to any of those places, I guess. I did, like, there was never a place I wanted to go and I had to think like, oh, I guess I can't go there because I got to have the vaccine.
There and I'm going to transition this to like our business lives.
Sure.
Because I think when we like interact with other business owners, there is a thread that like so many of us share, which is we don't play scared. Like some do. Some don't take as many risks, right? And it's hard to be a business owner and not take those risks. And I think we tend to live our lives that way. It's like we don't get so emotionally wound up and let the news influence it. Like, I live in Minneapolis. Minneapolis is a shit show right now. And my wife was like, you know, people are getting shot by ICE and this is going to protest here and protest there. She's getting all wound up. And she, like, we were out for her 40th birthday over the weekend and she was like pressing me a little bit. And this is going to sound really cold. I was just like, I just don't care. It doesn't, I mean, like, I feel bad. That sucks. It sucks for everybody. I don't like it. It's not going to change anything that I do. I am running my business. If some of my employees are impacted, some of my customers are impacted, my family's impacted, let me know where I can help. But right now, I have a bunch of people to take care of, and like, I'm going to focus on what's in my control. That ain't in my control. I'm not worrying about it. I'm not worrying about what Trump's doing. I'm not worried about what Walz is doing. I don't care who I voted for. I don't care who I didn't vote for. I'm gonna control what I can control, and I'm gonna take the risks that I think are prudent. And none of this has anything to do with what's in my control and what risks I'm gonna take. And so I'm just gonna like thoughtfully go about my day the same way I did yesterday. It just doesn't. It's not gonna change anything about what I do tomorrow, right now. And it was funny to watch COVID and like kind of intertwine that, how people reacted to COVID. And just the fear and like the oh my God, like everything's a huge deal. And I think business owners are either, I don't know if we're equipped from being business owners or it's the way we react to stresses like that makes us primed to be business owners, but we just handle stuff like that differently. I don't know if that's an observation you have. Obviously you have a lot of peer groups and stuff. And I know you have one that you actually run. Do you find that to be true in like the circles you run in, that like just business owners in operate?
Oh, I definitely. Yeah. I mean, for sure, business owners are definitely bigger risk takers because, you know, we don't get regular salaries. I mean, yeah, we might put ourselves on a salary in our business, but guess what? If our business has a bad month, guess whose salary is the first one to get cut? Yours, right?
Yeah, we fire ourselves, but we also keep working. We're like, if somebody else,
we're the dumbest employees ever. Yeah.
If somebody else gets fired, they might stop getting paid, but they go get a different job. They also don't have to keep working for us. We get fired and we have to keep working.
Right. Yeah. We have the worst unemployment insurance ever. We basically don't get paid, but in most cases, if your business like tanks 1 month or a couple of months or something, like I remember, like I had a time back in 2006, I think 6 or 7, where my business was doing really bad, and I stopped taking a salary for a year. I probably worked double that year to fix all the things that were broken in the business, to turn it around, to get it back into profitability. And I took 0 salary for a whole year. Working double the hours. So not only did I fire myself off payroll, I doubled my hourly input and made no money. Yeah, it was awesome. So business owners, are willing to do that, because it's the risk we choose to take. You take the good with the bad. Like you can take, you don't get it one way. I actually just recently had a discussion with a friend of mine. We have like a deal together, and we were discussing this, and they're like, well, what happens if we lose money on this deal? And I'm like, well, we lose money? Like, what do you mean? Yeah. What happens if we lose money? And they were like, but you mean like I'm going to have to like come up with money on this? I'm like, yeah, that's kind of the deal. Like if this thing goes south, yeah, we all have to pay. It was 3 of us doing this deal. I'm like, yeah, we all have to come out of pocket to make this thing happen. And they're like, whoa, I didn't realize that. And I'm like, you get a share of the profits in this partnership. Like you get a share of the profits in the partnership. You get the benefit of the share of the profits, but that also means you take the risk if we lose money.
Yeah, this isn't a job. This is an investment. This is wildly different.
And they were like, what? Like, it was fine. It wasn't like a huge deal. We talked through it, and it was kind of their first deal like that. And I'm like, hey, like, yeah, if we lose money, we lose money. You're going to lose money on this deal. And it's fine. They worked through it, and, it's a younger person and like kind of first time doing something like this. So they just didn't really understand the concept that they're not guaranteed a paycheck.
Capital is risky.
They did not understand the concept that it was a possibility to lose money. And that's how it is. If you own your own business, I mean, yeah, the last salary that gets paid every month is yours. If there's money left, you get the salary or the bonus or the profit.
You get all the upside and you live with all the downside.
Yeah. Right? And so to your point, these business owners, if you're a seasoned entrepreneur, you've been in business 10, 20 years, you've had ups and downs. You've had months where you didn't get a paycheck. You've had months where you made a ton of money and, you went and bought the boat or whatever other dumb thing you did with too much money.
A fish house. Up here in the winter, you buy a fish house. That was what I bought.
Got it. Up in the UP, you go buy a fish house and a snowmobile or something.
That's right. That's right.
So, yeah. So, like, I just think business owners, first of all, I think there's a type of person that has the ability to be a business owner. I don't think everyone is cut out for it. I don't think everyone has the emotional strength to handle the roller coaster.
Yeah, you got to be able to get punched in the face a bit. You got to be pretty damn gritty to run a business.
Yeah, like not everyone is capable of that. Like, I think it's a very small group of people that are willing to do it. Like, it's like salespeople. If you're like, especially direct sales, you take 1,000 no's before you get a yes. Not everyone can take 1,000 no's and still picking up the phone over and over and over again. It's the same mindset as a business owner because, I mean, basically you're a salesperson and you're the accountant and you are the payroll manager and you are HR and you are, at least in the beginning, you're everything.
And you're the IT guy. That's the worst one. I hate being the IT guy. I suck at that one.
So you're basically everything. And yeah, I think entrepreneurs are first of all, you're a type of person capable of doing that. But once you've done that for a while, you've been seasoned into riding that roller coaster, and you've learned how to weather the storms. You have your own method for weathering the storm. I'm sure as a business owner, you've had times where you're like, fuck, I hope I can pay rent this month. Like, I hope we don't have to eat ramen and beanie weenies all month. Like most of us have had that situation, and that's an emotional challenge. And over time, entrepreneurs figure out ways of coping with that stress.
Yeah.
And so, like with COVID, we're like, yeah. So there's another version of the flu. Fuck it, I don't care. Like,
yeah.
basically it.
It's more like, what's the government going to do, and then how do we position ourselves to keep you guys employed, right? Like, we have people that need incomes, and we have employees and customers that need help. I'll be fine. What's the government going to do that we have to position ourselves for to take care of the people that we take care of?
Yeah.
It's just like your mindset is so different. It's not like, what am I going to do? It's like, how am I going to build this thing to take care of the people that are dependent on the thing that I'm building? It's just like the way you approach it is just so different.
You got a whole bunch of actors there, right? You've got your employees. Maybe you have some partners. Maybe you've got some contractors out there, and then of course you also have your own family who kind of like it when you keep them living indoors. Keep you living indoors and eating food and stuff. So
they do appreciate that.
They like, most of us anyway, like living indoors and eating food. So
it's a good thing. I to the like the stresses of the like, there's gonna be points in time where you're losing money and putting money back into the business. I spent a decade in the corporate world and kind of like left to do the entrepreneurship thing out of the motivation of like, I better go now. I'm like 30 years old. I could do really well in the corporate world, but if I'm gonna try the entrepreneur thing, the sooner the better. And if it doesn't work, I have time to pivot back and whatever. And I remember like started in the fall and was already invested in some businesses, and then came in to run some home service companies. And we hit March and we couldn't make payroll. And I'm writing a $20,000 check and texting my wife, and I'm like, hey, we're small business owners now, baby. I love you. And I just wrote a $20,000 check to the business because it's my turn to pick up the tab. And next week the weather looks better, so we should be able to get out and start cleaning some windows. Then we'll start making some money. And it's so real. And at the time, it's like, it feels huge. And eventually it feels like when that happens, you're like, I should have seen that coming. I didn't plan right. I know how the seasonality works. I know how the business model works. Like, eventually there's no surprises anymore. I mean, there's always things, right? And not that you're numb to them, but you get so gritty, right? You come up, you face enough obstacles that when a new obstacle happens, you don't get scared, you don't get nervous. It doesn't like emotionally impact you because you solved so many of them before. So you just attack it rationally instead of emotionally. The first couple times I feel like it hits you emotionally. Eventually you're just like, yep, just not a problem. Well, we like solving problems. That's what we do. Let's go solve some problems.
Usually when like I have a shit hit the fan kind of situation, I pull out my notebook and I go to a coffee shop and I just write out the problem, and I write out
you and I might got the same damn notebook here. You got a white one and a black one there. So
I'll go write out the problem. I will write out the worst case scenario for the problem. That's my process. I'll write out the worst possible thing that could happen in this scenario. Like, you can't make payroll. Well, fuck, everybody quits. Like that kind of thing. You write out the worst case scenario, and then I analyze it, and I'm like, well, and most of the time, almost every time when I do that, I look at that worst problem, and then it's like, well, I could live with that. That's really not that big of a deal. And you do that like a few times, and after a while, you just realize, like, yeah, most of these problems that I see as being insurmountable, they're really not that big of a deal. And then most of the time, they don't happen anyway. Most of the time, I find a solution and I work through it, and magically, like you said, I magically come up with money for payroll somewhere or another, and it happens. But that's what I do. Now, you made an interesting point, though. You were in the corporate world 10 years. See, I personally have never had a real job. So to me, like, that's crazy when people are in the corporate world. You're making good money. You've got that regular paycheck, and you've got, whatever, 401k, health insurance, or whatever all the shit you get when you have a job. And just the one day say, you know what? I'm tired of all this easy stuff. Not that having a corporate job's easy, but I'm tired of these guaranteed paychecks and all this stuff. You know what I really need to do? I need to go fuck up my life and start a business. That's what I really need to do. And it blows my mind that people do that. Like, see, I've never had a real job. I've always had my own business. Like since I was 19, I had my own my own company. So I don't know what it's like to transition from that, and it's got to be tough. I have a few friends that have done it. That's ballsy. It's a ballsy move to do that.
It was weird. A couple, as you say that, it does strike me as like, yeah, I am crazy. One of the there's like a few things at play, which now in like hindsight is interesting. I was doing really well, and I was like on a fast track, but I was in a multinational corporation, Cargill, which is one of the biggest private companies in the U.S. Usually it's them and Koch Industries. And
I knew a Cargill, yeah.
I was getting sent. I spent 6 weeks in China building a risk management program over there, and then I was down in Costa Rica building stuff. And so it came to this tipping point where like I was having to move internationally, and that was sexy for me when I was younger. But at the end of the day, like I'm super Midwest, and this is where my family is, and this is where I'm going to be. And this, you're going to laugh at this because this is the opposite of why you travel everywhere. I'm like, all I want to do is hunt and fish. And that, like, behind me is a bar, but behind that is turkey fans from this last year shooting with my daughter. And I'm like, my life is in the Midwest. I will go everywhere. I don't dislike traveling. I like those experiences. And it was cool to get those experiences in the corporate world, but I never want to live anywhere else. Like, these are my roots, and this is where I'm living, and I will go anywhere, but I've lived in China, and I don't want to live in China. And I've been here, and I don't want to live there. Like, I always want to come back here because, like, I'm a very hobby-oriented person, and, like, all the hunting and fishing that I do is so focal to my life. So I kept trying to, like, come back here, but, like, in those businesses, you've got to go run a business in China for a couple of years, and you've got to go run a business in Costa Rica for a couple of years, like if you want to be a top dog. And I was like, I'm not opposed to it, but I kind of like the idea of testing the small business waters for the opportunity to run a business. And like in a company like that, you're not going to run a business until you're probably in your mid 40s, maybe like tipping 40. And I was in my late 20s, and I was like, the pathway for me to be able to run a business and be the person calling the shots is still a long ways away.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I would rather, and I know there's a lot of lessons to be learned. I prefer to learn my lessons the hard way. you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And so I was like, I think I got to do this small business thing, and I can always go back. Like, I'm not burning bridges. I could go back. And if I would go back, like, there was a lot of great people in Cargill. There's a lot of people, like businesses that I liked in there. It's changed since I left, but I kept those relationships up, and I kind of gave myself a 5-year window. If it sucks, maybe it sucks. Maybe I go back. And truthfully, I just had this conversation with my wife. There's like investment portions of earnings when you're a small business owner. But if I look at the wages I have been paid since I left, it took me 10 years to earn what I was making 10 years ago when I left the corporate world. That's not counting the benefits. That's just the salary and the bonuses that I would get paid and the job that I left to come do this. So it was a decade and 2 restarts to build something that pays me more than what I left. Granted, there's so many freedoms that come along with it. Like, it's hard to measure monetarily what that looks like. And the upside is so different. And the lessons learned are so different. Like, things you can't learn from going and getting an MBA or whatever the case is, right? Like, you just run through walls and you figure things out. But it is really interesting, like, leaving that world. And I'm a finance guy. Like, I'm risk averse by nature. I mathematically measure everything that I can measure. And so I do look at worst case scenarios, and I had the fortune of having some friends start small businesses and buy small businesses that I got to join and start buying equity in and come in and run. And so I had a buffer. Like, I wasn't starting from zero. I came in to run a company with 100 employees and came in as CEO and an investor, and like had a year of overlap with my business partner who was leaving to do some other stuff. So I didn't have to start from zero. This business I did, but it took me a while to gain the confidence and like have enough shitty experiences to know what the hell I was doing. You got started when you were 19. I started when I was like 30. And I would go back.
I had unlimited confidence when I was 19 because I was 19 and I was stupid.
Yeah.
Like when you're 19, you're stupid. You have unlimited confidence. A 19-year-old dude is maybe the dumbest creature on the planet. And I had unlimited confidence. I thought I could literally do anything there was to be done. I mean, you know, and as you get older, I'm 51 now. And so like when I was like 19, I thought I was the smartest person on the planet and could do anything. When I'm 30, I realized, man, that 19-year-old guy, he was a moron. And then when I got to be 40, I looked back on that 30-year-old guy and I thought, God, that 30-year-old guy, he was so stupid. And then when I hit 50, I look back at the 50-year-old me and I think, God, he was so stupid. Like you just gain wisdom over time. You said something that I thought was kind of funny, how you just didn't want to move. You wanted to be planted and lived in one place. 2004, I bought a house in North Carolina. I'm originally from North Carolina. I bought a house in North Carolina, and it was my dream house. I mean, it was amazing, okay? It was in the countryside a little bit, but not very far from towns. So not a long drive to be where restaurants and everything was going on, but in the countryside. I was in a neighborhood, but no HOA, and I hated HOAs, right? No HOA.
Yeah.
But in a neighborhood, in the countryside, at the end of a dead end road in a cul-de-sac. My house was the end of the cul-de-sac.
That's the right house.
It opened up. I had 7 acres of land with my house. It was a beautiful it's about almost 4,000 square foot house. I think it was four bedroom, 4 bath house. I had a huge attached garage and a 2,000 square foot detached like shopping garage. And I'm a motorcycle guy. I had a ton of motorcycles.
Oh yeah, you gotta have the shop then.
And I mean, I had a proper shop. Like I raced motorcycles for about 20 years. Like I had a proper shop with all the tools, a lift, a tire changing rack on the floor, everything. And I remember when I bought that house, I said, I'm never leaving this house. I'm never, ever going to leave this house. This is my dream house. I don't ever want to live anywhere else. I'll never, ever move anywhere. Like I told my kids, when I die, you can bury me back there in the backyard. And I remember I made such a big deal that I would never, ever, ever, ever leave this house. Since then, I have lived in, I've lived in 10 different countries. I mean, I've traveled to, like I said, probably 80 or so different countries, 47 states. I can't tell you how many different houses or apartments I've lived in. I look back at it, I'm like, oh my God. There's some countries where I lived in multiple properties in that one country, and I lived in multiple countries. So looking back, it's like, yeah, maybe that really wasn't the thing I wanted, was to live in one place. Maybe I just needed to get exposed to something.
It's the right time and the right place. It's a time and a place. And
maybe at some point in the future, I'll settle down and live in one place. Maybe I'll get back to that point. I'm not opposed to it. Right now, my lifestyle, I just go with the flow. I go where I enjoy being. If I felt like next week I wanted to go to Argentina, I would go. I would just buy a plane ticket and go rent an Airbnb apartment for a month and just, all right, let's give it a shot. Let's go live in Argentina for a month.
Got some good Malbec down there.
Good Malbec down in Argentina. Yeah. I don't drink, but I know they do have good wine.
I'm supposed to be in Argentina in June on a dove hunting trip with a buddy. I'm excited. That is South America. Never been there. It's one of those continents where it's like, I don't know why. I've just never been intentional about going there. It's about time. Got to go scope it out.
I've never been to Argentina, but I've been to Brazil a few times. I've been to Ecuador. I used to live in Colombia. I've been to Paraguay a couple of times. I think that's it in South America. Yeah, I believe
I'm
so.
excited to get down there. I love seeing new places, love new experiences. Here's what I found, and I don't think this is normal, but this is what I found about like my how I function is my house is just a place where I store my shit. Like I'm not loyal to my house. I don't like moving out of the sense of I don't enjoy the process of moving. And my in-laws are 10 minutes away and they're awesome. And we have 3 kids. And so we like, and my wife has 3 siblings that all live within 10 miles. And so we see each other a lot. Like we talked about buying land and like building a compound, like
God.
a family compound.
Oh,
Because
God.
we're very like codependent. I like my kids are probably raised more by my family than they are by me. And so like I work from home. I store all my shit at home, but when like the minute I get a chance, I don't live at home. I live outside. I'm hunting, I'm fishing, I'm like doing outdoor experiences. I could live in my fish house for weeks. Like I could go do that. Like I don't need to be home. I just need a hub to store my shit that's central to my activities. I don't know if my wife feels the same way. I think she doesn't because she gets really annoyed at how I store my shit. And she's like, why is all the ice fishing stuff over here? Why do you still have turkey hunting stuff out over there? I'm like, oh, sorry, I'll put it away. I got to get better at how I organize the storage. But I've found it's like a hub for me, it's a home in the sense of like, I call it home, but it's more of a hub, if that makes sense. Gotta like have access to the things I want to have access to and be in a central location. And in a funny way, like my wife works at 3M and for a while they could work anywhere. And I can run my business from anywhere in the world. And so we like had those conversations about like, where do we actually want to be? And I'm from Wisconsin and we spend a lot of time in Wisconsin. But what we realize is when we go to Wisconsin, we're hunting and fishing and like doing outdoor family stuff. Well, then we'd have no reason to come back to Minnesota. But her whole family's here. And like, so it actually makes sense for us to live here and go to Wisconsin to do hunting and fishing stuff to see my family. Because if we lived there, we'd never come back here. Like, we don't want to go to a big city. We want to go out of town to the country. And so we looked at like, where in the world would we want to live? And we just ended up right back where the hell we are. This is what that conversation turned into. Like, okay, I guess we're staying here. At least unless your parents move or your siblings move, I guess we're here. And this is just where we're gonna be. But at least I don't need to move my shit again. So I got that going for me.
I mean, I'm not exactly like that, but my home bases are kind of like that. That's just kind of where I keep my shit, like, you know. And you asked me a little bit before, like, kind of what do I have a favorite place, a favorite spot like that? I have favorite places for different things.
Yeah.
So, like North Carolina, I do have a place there, and I really love. I'm a motorcycle guy. I've been riding since I was 8 years old. I raced for like 20 years. So I'm a big motorcycle guy. And North Carolina is where I go when I want to ride motorcycles because North Carolina is an amazing place for riding.
So like just curvy roads or
curvy roads.
What makes it?
Curvy roads. Yep. Lots of really good curvy roads in North Carolina.
And you guys don't have shoulders for shit. Like up here, we got like 4 feet of shoulder on every road, and roads wide. We got like room to move snow. Every time I get down by like North Carolina, South Carolina, I'm like, man, you can't. If you go over that white line, like you're in the ditch.
Yeah, we don't
down there.
Not on a country road. No, definitely not. On the highway, there's shoulder, but not on a 2-lane. Yeah, you have very little, if any, shoulder in the Carolinas. But yeah, so that's kind of like my go. That's where I keep all my shit. I keep my motorcycle there. Actually, I have 2 motorcycles there.
What do you got?
And
what do you ride?
My main bike, it's the one I mostly ride. It's a KTM Super Adventure 1290R.
Is that like a cruiser or a rocket? What? I'm not a motorcycle guy, so you're saying things, and I'm like, it sounds cool.
It's an adventure bike.
What does that mean?
Like, I can take it off road. but this particular bike is a very heavy adventure bike. It's the
Okay.
bigger. I mean, it's a 1300 cc motorcycle. I mean, it's 160 horsepower. It's the world's fastest dirt bike. If you want to,
I was gonna say, like, in my mind, as a non-motorcycle guy, I'm like, you got your Harleys and cruisers, you got your like Yamahas and crotch rockets, and then you got all your dirt bike style bikes. So it's like
it's in the middle. Bike. It's like between a dirt bike and a sport bike.
Gotcha.
It's not a cruiser at all.
Yeah.
You can ride it fast. I can ride it like a sport bike. I can ride it fast like a sport bike.
Okay.
But not like quite like I can ride a sport bike. I mean, I've had lots of sport bikes in the past and been on the track many, many times. But yeah, it's a heavy, fast bike. I'll put it like it's a 6-speed transmission, and it'll do wheelies in 4th gear at 80 miles an hour, no problem. Like it's a fast bike.
When I see you crazy sons of bitches doing wheelies, like going down the highway, like there's motorcycle groups up in like the Midwest that's their thing. They just are like cruising around doing, just like riding crazy. I'm just like, man, I'm scared for you guys. That makes me nervous.
I will not confirm nor deny that I have done things like that and continue to do things like that.
Yeah.
I will not confirm nor deny that happens when I get on a motorcycle.
Hey, risk taking, having fun.
Right.
What's your other bike?
It's a KTM Duke 690. It's a smaller bike. It's a lightweight, more like you call it a naked standard bike. Basically, it's like a sport bike, but without the plastic fairings on the side.
Okay. For ripping around.
Yeah.
What do you like? Is that going back to the like households? What then is in Mexico? Like, do you have hobbies in Mexico that are specific to Mexico? Do you have hobbies in Europe specific to Europe?
So in Mexico, I have a lot of friends that live in town here. So when I'm in Mexico, this is my social time. Like, I'm spending time with friends almost every day when I'm here. Like, I'm hyper social when I live here. I mean, today I've already hung out with one friend and ran into somebody else while I was on the street, and after working today. And tomorrow, I'm sure I'll see another friend of mine that lives here. So this is, and I'm a single guy. I'm not married. So dating here is nice. Like I go on dates every, dating it for me goes in waves. Like I'll date for a while for like 3 weeks, and then I'm like, I don't want to look at another woman ever. Yeah. And so then I'll go like a month and I won't go on a date because I'm just like tired of it.
Yeah. Understandable. That's the benefit of dating is you can make the decision to check out.
Right. Yeah. I just check out. I'm just like, gross. I don't want to see another woman for a while, but I'm very social when I'm here. So I don't have a motorcycle here. I honestly wouldn't even have time because I work, I go to the gym and I hang out with friends, and that's basically all I do. Occasionally on the weekends, we get out and go do like some outdoorsy things. Like we go into the jungle or go to like cenotes and stuff like that.
You were telling me the last time we chatted that you guys have like a business mastermind group that you do, and you were doing one in Mexico. Do you do that down by your house, or do you try to get out into other parts of Mexico? Where is there
I've done it in different places, but the one we're doing next month, it's actually right at about a month from now, February 23rd, it starts. That is about 30 minutes from my house.
Nice.
So it's at a 5-star all-inclusive resort. So I'm like, it's only like 30 minutes from my house, but I'll be at the resort for the whole week during the event. I'll just go.
Sounds like an okay place to be.
Yeah, it's all right.
You got somebody cooking for you. That's gourmet. In our family, we use the term gourmet to define when somebody else does it. Doesn't even need to be good. Like, as long as somebody else is making that mac and cheese, that's some gourmet mac and cheese right there.
You know, this place though, the food is really good. They have, I think, 9 restaurants on the property, and I've been to this hotel. Actually, I'm going next week. I've got one of my employees in town, and we're going for like a 3-day work retreat next week. Actually, it's really just an excuse to go hang out at that hotel, to be honest.
That's a good idea. Yeah,
we have some work we need to do, but we didn't have to be there to do it. Like, it's just, why not?
Yeah.
But yeah, the food's great. It's a beautiful property. Like, they got great amenities. You know, I like the place. It's a pretty cool spot to do a business event.
Heck yeah.
But we've done it in a bunch of different countries. We've done that event in a lot of different places.
Is it like a once a quarter thing, once a year thing? How often do you do your masterminds?
Once a year.
Okay.
So it's a once a year event.
Yeah.
Huh?
Is it like generally the same group, or what's the core of it? What's the culture of it?
So it's once a year, but once you come to one event, you're in the community. We have it's just on WhatsApp basically. We have a community group on WhatsApp with different like sub channels in the group for different topics. But once you come to one event, you're in the community, and there's a lot of side events that happen, like informal side events. I mean, hell, I'm going to 2 weddings this year that are with these people, with this group. And I'm going to a concert my daughter is a singer. I'm going to a concert in March, and a bunch of us from this group are going to her show in Phoenix.
Badass. Cool.
So you asked about the culture of the group. The culture, everyone's an entrepreneur. There's people from all over the world. And we got people this year, a bunch of Americans, a few Canadians. We got a couple of local Mexicans that'll be there. We've got a couple of Russian people be there, a couple of Portuguese people, some Germans. There's a couple of British people coming. I mean, there's all over the world. There's people coming from Eastern Europe. We had a few people from Eastern Europe coming. I know we have at least one Latvian coming.
That's awesome.
And the culture is basically it's an anti-woke, anti-PC environment.
Thank God. Thank God somebody's doing it.
Because, I absolutely fucking despise this politically correct trend. And to be honest, I'll be honest. Like, over the past 1 to 2 years, I think that pendulum is swinging the other way.
I think it's starting to. It's making the woke people angry.
Yeah, it's starting to swing the other way. Yeah. I can see it. I can see it swinging the other way now. But the way that goes is, the pendulum swings too far in the politically correct direction. So pretty soon, we're going to have full-on fucking Nazis on the street. Like, it's going to be the other direction.
The other way, too. Yep, you're right.
That's the way it goes. So it's pretty anti-PC kind of environment. I'll put it this way. Like, we had, was it last year? No, it was 2 years ago. We had these 2 guys come, and we had our opening dinner. And our opening dinner, it's a big, every table is like 6 or 8 people at each table for dinner. And somebody made a joke at the table. I have no idea what it was, but somebody made a joke at the table. And these 2 guys that were new people at the event, they got really offended, and they didn't come back for the rest of the week. Like, they hung out at the resort because they had the room at the resort, but they never came to the event the rest of the week. And I thought it was pretty funny because in my mind, like, I'm like, sweet, we filtered out.
Yeah.
Like, we filtered out some people.
It's like sales. We either got the right leads or the wrong leads, but we don't want to string them along forever. Like, a no is better than maybe.
Yep. So it was kind of funny that, like, they got offended by a joke. And in my mind, there's no joke there's no such thing as a joke that's going to get me so mad that I'm not going to attend an event I just paid to be at. Like the guy that made the joke, if I didn't like it, okay, maybe I just think the guy's a dick and I just move on. That's fine.
It's not like you're handcuffed to the guy, like you can't leave. You can't.
Yeah,
you can't like interact with other people at the thing.
Yeah, so maybe this one guy is a dick. Okay, whatever. I was part of a community, and I don't know if you want me to name names here, but I was part of a community that for many years, and they did like quarterly events, and I went to one event. It was probably 3 years ago. I went to the event, and I remember at the event, I was at that event. And I remember at the event, there was two guys having a conversation. They were like out in the hallway, not in the event space, but in the hallway. Two guys having a conversation. And these were like locker room talk, like two guys shit talking something. I don't know. Maybe they were talking about some girl or something. I don't know. It doesn't matter what the conversation was about. The point is, it was a private conversation between two guys. And a girl happened to walk by that was part of the event. They were not talking to her. They were not talking about her. She was like just eavesdropped on their conversation. She got super offended.
She eavesdropped and then got offended.
She got offended, which is fine, but she had a choice when she got offended. She could be offended and look at those guys and be like, yeah, fuck those guys. I'm not talking to them anymore. And that's what she wants to do.
That's a reasonable choice.
That's a reasonable choice. Fuck those guys. They're assholes. But she went to the organizer of the event and complained about the two guys, which I thought was like, why bother? Why, like, you don't like the guys, you don't like the guys. You don't have to complain to the organizer about two guys having a private conversation that you were not even supposed to be part of. So that was over the top. But what blew me away, and the reason I won't participate in that community anymore, is the organizer went to those two guys and kicked them out of the event and out of the community for a private conversation that some passerby overheard. And I was like, I don't need to be part of this community. This is not me. I am not the kind of person that, like, I'm not shy when it comes to conversations, and I'm not politically correct, and I'm not, I offend people all the time. I just do it all the time.
It's more fun.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. To be honest, I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today, and she told me that there's a Facebook group about anti-her, like an this girl Facebook group that I'm really good friends with. She's one of my best friends. And she found out there's a Facebook group that is like a hate her Facebook group. And I told her, I'm like, fuck, that's awesome. Why can't I have an anti-Bobby Facebook group? I want an anti-Bobby. That's badass to have an anti-you Facebook group. That's badass.
There's that many people that care about what you're up to, that they're willing to discuss the things they don't like about you.
And they created a group so the community of them could get together and talk about how much they hate her. I was like, God, I really want an anti-Bobby Facebook group.
You got to offend some people, Bob. You got to get going. You're not.
I know.
You got work to do, man.
I haven't had any death threats in a couple of years now, and so I feel.
You've been soft.
I feel like I'm being soft. I haven't had any death threats in like 2 years, so I feel like I've gotten soft.
That's hilarious.
So I need to work harder.
I do. I mean, I'm with you. I can't stand the cancel culture bullshit and just the politically correctness. I'm just like, just get over it. Like, you chose to be here. You chose to walk by that conversation. You chose to like. Every decision that was made there was totally just being a whiny bitch. Like, God. Can we just stop being whiny bitches?
Who's that comedian?
Over it?
Who's that? What's his name? The really famous black comedian.
Chris Rock.
No, not Chris Rock.
That's it. Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle, yeah. Dave Chappelle.
That's pretty good. This is the second time I've talked about Dave Chappelle today.
So Dave Chappelle on one of his shows, one of his Netflix shows, is talking about cancel culture, and I loved it. He's like, "You can't fucking cancel me. I don't care what your opinion is of me." He's like, "You can't cancel me. Like, do your best." And I thought that was the best thing ever. Like, because so many people nowadays, they're like afraid of cancel culture. Like, if I get canceled, nobody's going to go to my Instagram channel. Dave Chappelle's like, fuck it. Don't go to my Instagram channel. I don't care.
Yeah,
don't go there.
I dare you.
Yeah. Like, it was the best. Like, I loved his attitude about cancel culture. If you can find that clip where he talks about it, or that stand-up show, I think it was on Netflix. One of his specials on Netflix is great.
I saw Dave live in Nashville a few years ago, and it's just Dave. It's like he just cuts right through stuff and just goes right at it. And I always have an appreciation, like it or not, whatever their message is or whatever they're doing, I have a ridiculous amount of appreciation for people that don't like beat around the bullshit, and they have that skill to cut right through things. They have the right words, the right approach, the right tactic to go like right at something and put the right words around it to kind of make you all feel stupid. I think there's a skill in that, and there's like, you can't argue it. Somehow.
The greatest comedian of all time for that is George Carlin, by far, in my opinion. George Carlin is the greatest of all time for like cutting through the bullshit.
He had to be. He's such a goofy looking dude. He had to be. He had no way around it. He had to go right at it. That was like it. You
would watch some of his stand-up shows and you're like, is this even comedy anymore? Because this is some like real shit he's talking about.
George. Just straight
it's a little bit funny, but is it really comedy? Like, I don't even feel like this is comedy anymore. Like,
yeah, this is a critique.
It's a
critique.
Yeah, he was the best. I think he's the greatest of all time for that stuff. Yeah. But anyway, our culture for our event and our entire community is anti-woke, anti-PC. You can say whatever you want. I mean, we actually, within our WhatsApp community, so we have the community group, and then we have like the alumni group. We have different groups that you can join under the community. I don't know if you are in any WhatsApp communities.
I'm not. I was just realizing WhatsApp is a business, and we have a bunch of different chats, but I don't even think we have the community structure in there. But it would totally make sense to build that for us.
You can create a community in WhatsApp. The one thing, completely on a side topic, you might want to consider Telegram for your business for a community instead. The one thing I don't like about the WhatsApp conversations, chats, or community is if I joined your community today, I can't see anything before.
Can't see the history. Yep.
Can't see the history. In Telegram, you can. And you can build communities in Telegram also. I've been thinking about moving our event, our Beer and Pancakes community, over to Telegram, basically for that reason. But inside our community group, one of our group chats is a shit talk group chat. So, like, if you're in the, like, we have a crypto investing group. If you're in that group, we don't want shit talk in there because we want you to stay on point to talk about crypto.
Yeah, do some useful shit in there.
But in the shit talk chat, it's zero filter. Nothing gets deleted ever. Like, you can say the worst of the worst. You can drop the worst of the worst memes in there. I mean, it's truly disgusting. And I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's a good spot for it.
Yeah, and that group though is full on anti-PC. My God, you should see. Like, I went to one wedding last year with this group. Like, one of the guys in this group got married, and there was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There was 10 of us at his wedding that are in our community, our Beer and Pancakes community. And so he put all of us at one table because he's like, I can't put you around
Yeah.
like the rest of my family.
Half the people are gonna walk out if I spread you guys out.
He's like, yeah, my soon to be bride, like I can't put you at a table with like her cousins and stuff. You people are not publicly safe.
Yeah,
Like,
we're at another level. We all understand each other, but nobody else does. So we got to be a little bit careful.
So I always tell people, like, if you want to come to our Beer and Pancakes event, great, but be prepared. It's not for thin-skinned people.
I think I got the beer part covered.
Yeah.
And I'm from Wisconsin. We make our own maple syrup, so I think a pancake or two can handle it. No stranger. Actually, a weird thing happened today. I showed up to this networking event, and I was like a guest, hence the logo gear. And the strangest thing happened, which is I had to go up and like present, and I didn't have a beer in my hand. I forgot to bring a beer. And one of my rules is when I get up in front of a crowd and I'm presenting, I always grab a beer and crack it in the microphone before I get started to let everybody know it's okay. We're going to have some fun.
Right.
It's not going to be boring. It's not going to be stiff. It's cool. And it was weird. I didn't know what to do. I had a microphone in one hand and my other hand was just like empty.
You're standing around holding the microphone. Your other hand's like,
yeah, it looked like a lost puppy. It looked like a lost puppy. It just didn't.
You should have called somebody to get you a beer. Like, hey man, can you grab me a beer?
Somebody fetch me a Busch Light. I don't know what to do with myself. Bobby, I want to get to some of the business stuff you do because the last time we talked.
Oh wait, we talked business?
We're going to talk just a little bit of business. Like it's too valuable to skip over. Like we can have all the fun in the world. You and I are going to have many a conversation in the future. But for those just they know how this podcast works. We're going to BS for however long we're going to BS for. But you have so many business experiences that are so helpful to so many people. And just, even the last time we chatted, and we were just kind of doing the intro call, just talking about how to like organize our businesses to protect ourselves. And for so many of us, this is our asset, right? Sure, we can have like some other investments as we scale, but for so many small business owners, they don't have a lot of other investments. They have this one, and they bet all their marbles on this one. Yeah. And so protecting that and knowing how to set it up correctly and knowing how to like strategically think about the money that they have in there and what it's doing and where it goes and all that stuff. You think about that at another level more than anybody that I've ever talked to before. So maybe we like give me a little bit of background on your experiences of business ownership, entrepreneurship, and structure, and then maybe we take it through like if somebody's just starting out and starting to scale and where they're going and what to be thinking about as they position their business from like a risk protection standpoint.
So my background, like I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. Like my grandpa had some barbecue restaurants. My dad had a construction company, real estate development company. So I was never raised in the like get the corporate job mindset. Like there was never a thought as a kid growing up, what kind of job do I want to have? It was always like from the moment the thought of making money came into my head, it was what business am I going to start from the beginning? Like normal things for me when I was a teenager growing up, when I was a kid, not even teenager, just my whole life growing up, like our normal dinner time conversations could be like tax planning, should a company be an S corp or a C corp? Like, how do we analyze this real estate deal? Hey, why don't we go through this like balance sheet and P&L and a 10K report on this public company to see if it's, a good stock investment. Like I started trading stocks when I was 14. I had a brokerage account when I was 14. Like, that I accessed myself and traded stocks on myself when I was 14. Keep in mind, I'm 51. So there was no Yahoo Finance.
You weren't on Scottrade back in the day slinging dollars.
No, I was buying the newspaper every day as a 14-year-old so I could look up the stocks in the back of the business section of the newspaper and track the prices every day. like, and having like literally you'd have to order like the P&L statements or the 10K reports, and you'd have to they'd have to mail them to you, and you'd have to read them. Like this was, back when you had to walk uphill both ways to school in the
2 feet
snow.
of snow. Definitely.
Yeah, with paper bags on your feet.
It's funny because I'm 10 years younger than you, and I had a Scottrade account when I was like 14, when I was in high school doing like economics classes. We started doing investing stuff, and by then everything was online. Like that 10-year difference. I never looked at stocks in the newspaper. I went on Yahoo Finance. Like at the time, that was like the place to get the info, and did my trades based on my intel. And I could get most 10Ks on there. Not all of them, but like they had a decent amount on there.
I was 14 in 1988. Yeah. So this was like, I mean, the internet was there, but it wasn't prolific. Like nobody, if anybody had a website in 1988, it was effectively a business card online. I mean, that's basically, there was no interactive anything there. So like if I wanted to trade a stock, I had to pick up the phone, call the broker as a 14-year-old kid, and like, hey, I want to buy, of course I was a 14-year-old kid with no money. So I wanted to buy like 5 shares of,
like, hit me with a couple shares.
Sears or whatever I was buying, So that was normal stuff for me when I was a kid. Like I didn't grow up with this job mindset, and I started my first business my first real business when I was 19, which failed miserably. And then at 20, I started something else, which failed.
What was the first one you tried at 19?
It was just like buying and selling some like wholesaling products.
Yeah.
Bullshit thing. Like it didn't work out. I mean, it probably worked for some people. It didn't work for me. I wasn't smart enough, I guess. And I started something else.
Didn't know everything yet at 19.
Yeah. Turns out, as it were, I was not omniscient at 19. The funny thing is, the older you get, the dumber you realize you are. Like,
oh yeah. The awareness is like,
I'm so stupid now. Now it's 51. I'm like, fuck, I'm really dumb at a lot of things. But now my mindset is, I'm really dumb at something. I really should hire somebody way smarter than me at that thing, because I'm really dumb at that. I know
how to work around this now.
Yeah. But then I started my first real business that did well when I was 21, that did pretty well. I sold it when I was like 33 or 34, something like that. And during that time, I also, I had bought some of my competitors in that space to roll them up into a bigger company. I had also bought and sold a restaurant during that time. I got into real estate during that time. And so, I mean, I started a bunch of different businesses during that time. I realized in my late 20s, 27-ish, 8, I had like a couple of businesses. I was doing pretty well, had some money. And I realized like, I really should protect myself a bit better. So I ended up hiring somebody like me to come in and help me like analyze my situation, restructure some things, help with tax optimization and stuff like that. So I hired somebody like me, and that guy actually ended up becoming kind of a mentor to me. And at that time, well, actually, that's not really fair. Still to this day, all of my friends had their own businesses. I don't really have friends that have jobs because, if I want to go ride motorcycles with my buddies on a Thursday, can't really do that with a job.
What the hell are you going to talk to them about?
I wouldn't know. Honestly, like 401ks. I don't know what the fuck a 401k is.
I know there's 3 numbers and then there's a letter.
Yeah, I don't know what that bullshit means. But so all my friends were business owners, and I went to the guy that I had worked with, and I said, "Like, why don't we work together? Because I got a bunch of friends that need the same thing you did for me. What if we work together? I do some consulting with them, and we work together on them, and we split the money." He goes, "Yeah, sure. I'll take new clients. Why not?" So I did that for a while, like just helping friends. And so kind of got into what I'm doing now, kind of as like a side gig for me while I was running these other businesses. And then around 2007, I think. I just had, one of my 25 midlife crises and realized that,
One of the first ones.
yeah, one of my 25 midlife crises. And I realized, like, I really didn't like what I was doing. I didn't like the business I was in. I didn't like my customers. I didn't like any of my employees. Like, I just fucking hated all of it. So, so it was kind of interesting. I had an RV back then, and well, I have one now too, but a different one. And I took an RV trip first part of January by myself. I went to the beach. I went to Outer Banks, North Carolina, and I did a week-long RV trip just to reflect on what was going on, what I wanted to do. And during that trip, I realized, like, I don't want to do this anymore. So I decided to sell my company, and I decided what I wanted to do. And I went through like a really long process to figure out how I wanted to do it. I mean, I was literally camping on the beach in the most boring place on earth by myself for a week. And I never left the campsite, ever.
You're like Aaron Rodgers in his dark retreat room.
Yeah, I'd never left the campground, and there's nothing there. So I came to the conclusion, number one, for me, I realized most people, I'm a little bit off topic, obviously, but whatever. I realized most people.
Point of this podcast. The point of the podcast is to, like, maybe get back to the topic. We'll see.
Maybe we'll get there. Maybe 6 or 7 hours later, I'll work my way around to it. You never know. But I kind of realized, like, most people, myself included, life is kind of like a bullseye, like a dartboard, right? So you got the bullseye in the middle, and then you got rings around the bullseye like that, right? And I realized most people, myself included, my business or my career was like the bullseye, the target of the target of the dartboard, the bullseye, and everything else in my life had become like a ring around the bullseye, in the sense that everything in my life was career focused, and my entire lifestyle was focused and had to be centered upon that business, like where I lived, what my hobbies were, where I went on vacation, like where I ate lunch every day. All these things became this like thing about, and I realized I didn't like that anymore. I wanted to make my quality of life and the lifestyle that I really wanted to be the center of my life, and I wanted my business to be one of the rings.
Yeah, interesting.
Around the bullseye.
Well, especially when you realize, it hit me hard when you were like, I realized I didn't like my customers and I didn't really like my employees. And I look back at when I had maid service businesses and window cleaning businesses, and there's definitely some exceptions. Like, we had a few great employees over the years. We had a lot of really shitty ones. And serving residential homeowners, sure, we had some good ones, but the good ones you don't hear from and aren't impactful. The number of shitty ones that were just pieces of shit and like did whatever they could do to not pay you. It's like, man, that business tore me up. That was,
it sucks.
I was not good at running that business. There's people that are good at running that business way better than I was, and it just wasn't the place for me.
You've got to have. This was the epiphany I had in 2007. Is I needed to be aligned with the lifestyle I wanted and the things I wanted to do, because I was out of alignment in my old business. Like, I realized I hated my employees. I hated my customers. I fucking hated everything about that business. I hated it. Like, every day I would walk into the office like this, like, fuck you guys.
It's tough to live life super pissed off.
Like, yeah. And I was super pissed. Yeah. I was a grumpy motherfucker, like, for a while. And I realized, like, for me to be happy in life, I needed a different lifestyle, and I needed to do something different that I enjoy doing. And so one thing I realized working with that guy that became my mentor is I really enjoyed working one-on-one with entrepreneurs, helping them solve these pieces. So you asked me, like, about what I do, helping business owners get the right structure in place, tax optimization strategies, protecting their wealth, those types of things. I love that because it's like solving a puzzle. And it was working with people I like, because my belief is, like, I'm gonna go philosophical here, but my philosophical view is that entrepreneurs are the economic engine of the world. Nothing happens without an entrepreneur making shit happen. Entrepreneurs.
Business starts at zero.
I would specifically mean entrepreneurs. So, like, I think government. I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole, but I think
that's a deep one.
Government is nothing more than sand in the gears of progress. Like, I think humanity has evolved beyond the need for government. I don't think we need it at all anymore. I think philosophically, I'm an anarchist, but I'm also practical. I don't think, we're going to see government evaporate anytime soon. So we have to live within the
scary thing to me, though, on
framework.
that tangent, the scary thing to me, though, is like it should be getting smaller and smaller and smaller because of, like, what you said. We don't really need it that much anymore. I can see some arguments for, like, pieces of it should be getting smaller and smaller and smaller, but it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's so self-serving. It's gross.
It is gross. And so my view is that entrepreneurs are the ones that create a better life for humanity. We create services that make people's lives better, easier. We create products that make people's lives better and easier. We hire people to give them jobs, and that makes their lives better and easier, right? We are the ones that make the world a better place. So my job is to make sure entrepreneurs keep as much money in their pocket, because an entrepreneur is an infinitely better allocator of capital than government.
Infinitely is the key word there. Infinitely.
Infinitely better allocator of capital.
Yeah.
And so if you make whatever, let's say $100,000 a year and you're paying $30,000 in tax, if I could help you save 10 or 15 or 20,000 or even 30,000 in tax, and that puts more money in your pocket as an entrepreneur, you're going to use that money to grow your business.
Yeah,
you're going to use that to improve your products, improve your services, hire new people, instead of throwing that down, the black hole pit of government waste. So
I live in Minnesota. You don't have to tell me about government waste. We got enough fraud here to sink the rest of the country. So
you guys are killing it in the news lately. You guys are absolutely fucking crushing it in the news.
We're relentless. If you want, like, entertainment, it's either happening in Florida or Minnesota.
You know what? That's an excellent point. I don't think you could say the tides are shifting. It might now be Minnesota man instead of Florida man.
It might be. We're pretty.
There could be a shift to Minnesota man over Florida man at this point. But anyway, that's kind of my view, my philosophical view. And so I realized, for me to be in line with my core values, I needed to do something that aligned with how I wanted to live my life and what I wanted to do. And that's when I realized, like, I really enjoy helping people get their businesses in order and save and protecting themselves from overtaxation or, litigation, predators from litigation and stuff like that. Like, I have a bunch of clients. I had a client literally 3 days ago, sent me a text message on WhatsApp because, man, you are my absolute savior. He said, the structure we put in place, you just saved me. Because he had, like, some bullshit frivolous litigation. He had a chain of restaurants. And I don't want to go into details, but he had a chain of restaurants. He got sued, some frivolous litigation. And he said, you just saved me probably $4 million. That's
wild.
Because the structure we put in place for him protected all of his other assets. And he had this frivolous litigation against some nonsense. And because his other assets were protected, he didn't need to just throw money at this lawsuit to fight it, because the worst case scenario that happens, he sues and loses, and they can't touch anything anyway. And so he saved, I don't know, probably $500,000 in lawyers. But then when the whole thing settled and finished, they ended up dismissing it because of the structure we put in place, because they knew they couldn't get to anything because of some jurisdictional things we had done. And in my mind, that is a massive win because I know this guy. He's a good friend of mine. I've known him for years. He's God knows how many businesses he started. He's like, I'm like a kind of a serial entrepreneur, but I look like an infant compared to this guy. This guy starts like
those guys.
This guy starts like 8 businesses a year, and like he just started another business like 3 or 4 months ago. It's already doing like $800,000 a month. He started it like 3 or 4 months ago.
Jesus.
But this guy, when he starts a business, like he has all these people, he's putting the work, like he's allocating resources. I would much rather this guy keep his money than some class action lawyer who's going to keep half of that payout, and then some bullshit frivolous litigants who they're not going to do anything with the money anyway because there's like 1,000 of them.
They're just going to go try to sue somebody else for some other bullshit because their life's they're like a legal thief, right?
Yeah.
Like it always blows my mind when I see people taking from other people and digital crimes or whatever, where it's like, really, you're smart enough to figure that out and you can't figure out how to help people. Like you're wired to shrink the pie and take from other people instead of help people. And like the litigious community is so ridiculous with that of like, really? And I mentioned this on the last time we talked. We had a business in Cleveland, small little maid service business. We were just starting to scale.
Oh, right. I remember, yeah.
We were going to add window cleaning. And so like this, I don't want to reflect negatively on Valpak. We use Valpak, but it was specifically the franchise owner of Valpak that was there. We negotiated with them and we didn't like the rates. And we said, nah, like we're going to do some other stuff, right? It's just marketing. And we think maybe Google ads or maybe some Facebook posts, whatever. They sued us for exactly, I think it was like $8,000 or $12,000. I mean, like we're a tiny ass business. $10,000 in that entity was a lot of money. Like that put us on the rocker, right? Of like, holy shit, we can't make payroll. We can't run our business. Like that was the money we were riding on in the bank account. It was like just fresh. And they sued us for like 10 grand ish. They allegedly ran us through the mailer. We didn't get any calls, which was interesting that if they would have run us through the mailer, you'd think we would have gotten calls. They couldn't prove that we told them to, right? There was no contract signed. There was no agreement or anything. We never gave them the go ahead. And we found out later, this is like common practice for them. This was what that guy did. He would
probably their business model.
He'd be in a negotiation and he'd run the ads and then he'd sue the people to get paid. And
doesn't surprise me.
Our lawyer basically said, yeah, you just got to pay him. Because by the time you pay me to fight it, like he knows exactly what he's suing you for. He knows that by the time you pay a lawyer, it's going to cost you more to pay me. So you might as well pay him. He's got it down to a T. And we negotiated with him. And then we had him actually like run some real mailers. They were jack shit. They didn't do anything. We paid him more. We actually paid him more. We paid him like $12,000 to actually like run some stuff for us. And then, obviously never worked with him again, but it was like, man, we're the smallest. That business was doing like $300,000 in revenue. It was making $30,000 a year.
Litigation's crazy.
It's wild. It was like, that's that. Like, I didn't think that tiny of a little piece of shit business that would attract that type of attention.
There's a new lawsuit. If you go on the U.S. Bar website, you can look at the statistics. I haven't looked at it in a couple of years, but the last time I looked, I did the math. And there was a new lawsuit filed in the U.S. every 6 seconds. And that's every 6 seconds, 24/7, 365. There's a new lawsuit filed. It was like every 6 seconds.
I believe it.
So do the math on that. I mean, it's millions of lawsuits filed. It's an insane number. And if you have a business or if you have assets, the more first of all, if you have a business, whether you make any money or not, like you found out, whether you make any money or not, you're already a target because people make the assumption you've got money.
Mm-hmm.
There's just an assumption like, oh yeah, that Dan guy, he's rich. He's got this big window cleaning business. Like
look at the bar he has behind him. That's
he must be rich. He drinks Busch Light, for God's sakes. What kind of? He's got to be super wealthy, right? Like, as you take a sip of Busch Light, but people just make that assumption you got money, and then the more money you have, the bigger that target is on your back. Like I remember my dad telling me one time, he made a lot of money. He had a big construction company when I was growing up, and he told me, like, I tried to get him to buy like a really nice car one time. I mean, my dad definitely had the money to buy a really nice car, and he told me, he said he'll never buy a car more expensive than like a mid-level Cadillac. And he said the reason he never wants to do that is he doesn't want, first of all, he doesn't want other people thinking he's rich, number one, and want to sue him. And number two, he doesn't want his employees to think he's pulling in too much money from the company and then they get greedy and create problems for him in his business, like asking for, you know, like he paid his employees really well. But I mean, I remember back in even like in the 80s, he was paying like his secretary like 40 grand a year. And this is like in the 80s.
Jesus.
Yeah. So he paid his employees really well, but he didn't want them to get too greedy if he showed up driving, you know, like a
example,
a Porsche or something like that. And I remember thinking about that. And I was like, of course, I'm a teenager going, no, Dad, you should get the Porsche. That'd be cool. You know,
do something cool. Yeah.
But my dad's like, no, I don't want to live like that. I don't want to have that target on my back. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I get older now and I'm like, yeah, no shit. And I tell my clients that too. Like, if you want to stay under the radar, like the dumbest thing you can do is go buy like a Lamborghini. If you want to drive a Lamborghini, hey, go rent one and drive it on the racetrack and do like a couple of track days with a rental Lamborghini and get it out of your system on a weekend. Yeah. You're not going to like the car long-term anyway. Like I've had a bunch of friends with like McLarens and Ferraris and Lamborghinis and stuff. Every single one of them have gotten bored with that car after a period of time. They're like, because they don't like it. They don't like driving it on a regular basis. Like my buddy had a McLaren for a while, and he had an old beat up Toyota Land Cruiser, and he drove Toyota 4Runner. Oh, yeah. And I never saw him in the McLaren ever. He always drove this like 15-year-old Toyota 4Runner.
Hell yeah.
That looked like shit. Like it was a beat up car. He goes, I'd much rather drive this Toyota than that McLaren.
I'm a relentless pickup truck guy. Like the minute I owned a pickup truck, I don't know that I will go any day through the rest of my life without an F-150. Maybe if they stop making F-150s, then I'll have to go through. I'll probably try to buy used ones until I die. Like I'm always going to need a truck. I'm just doing truck shit. I need it. Like I'm going to throw a dead deer in the back of there. There's going to be blood everywhere. I need my wife not to bitch about it. And like I'm going to go ice fishing. I'm going to go wherever I'm going to go. I need to pile that thing full of I'm going to go cut wood, whatever I'm going to do. I think
she probably frown upon you throwing a bloody deer in the back of her Lexus SUV.
She ain't going to like it. She ain't going to like it in the SUV. So it's got to go in the back of the F-150. I just can't see a world where I don't have one.
Honey, can I borrow your minivan? I'm going hunting this weekend. Yeah, no. Yeah,
I won't put blood in it. I'll just strap the dead deer on the roof. It'll be fine.
I have bungee cords around the windowsills, like holding the deer on.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, me too.
That's a Wisconsin move. That's a classic Wisconsin move.
Well, where I went to high school, probably like you too, where I went to high school, and when I grew up, everyone brought guns to school. Not in the school, but like in the truck, and you'd see them on the back window of the truck.
Yeah.
I mean, I always had a gun in my car when I was in high school.
I always did. And like it cracks me up now. I was reminiscing with somebody really.
You can't have a pocket knife in your car at school anymore,
right? I had a 12 gauge in my trunk all year long. It never left because I never knew when I was going to go out grouse hunting or squirrel hunting or just shooting at shit in the state forest. Like my buddies and I, like, we'd get out of school, and if we didn't have football or basketball or golf or whatever the hell sports season it was, like, we go stomping. We just went somewhere and stomped around and shooting guns and whatever. And it was always at school in the parking lot. And it never struck me as like, oh shit, my gun's here. It's like, yeah, it's
never struck me as odd either. Like in my school, like it was like opening season for hunting was never, it was not officially a holiday, but all the teachers know that, like,
yeah,
at least half the boys are not coming to school that day. And they always knew, like, they wouldn't give anybody absences, like the opening season, like the opening couple of days of hunting.
It's good. Yeah, opening weekend, it's all right.
Nobody would get like absences on their report card or anything. But yeah, I don't know how we got on that topic. But to rewind, you asked me about the business stuff. I'm trying my best to bring it back on point.
You did good there. I was about to try to bring it back there, but I'm glad you did it. Then I didn't have to be like a pushy host. You just went.
I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. So basically, I started the consulting thing with clients, helping them with the structure that evolved into when I finally sold the company I hated. I turned it into a real business around 2008 or 9. And during that period of time, I was mainly like asset protection consulting, helping people with company structure, tax optimization, stuff like that. And over time, I ended up referring my clients to different partners. Like if you need to set up a trust, go to this trust company. You need, like a lot of my clients are like digital nomad types or location independent entrepreneurs. So I would say you need a virtual mailbox. You should go to this company, or you need to like, let's register an LLC for you. So we'll register it for you, but we'll use this registered agent. And so over time, I was referring clients to all these different partners, and I realized, like, I don't like doing that. So I started all those companies.
Yeah, I should probably do those things. One that I refer them to me.
Yep, I just basically, that's exactly what happened. I said I got tired of referring people out to these other companies. So a few years ago, we had registered so many companies for clients, it got to be really tedious to renew them, like sending out notices and having annual reports filled out and filings and all that stuff got to be tedious. So I hired a software developer to build like an automation tool where we could automatically renew your LLC or your corporation and file your annual report and pay your state fees and all that stuff, fully automated. Because basically out of pure laziness, because I didn't like doing it anymore, and I didn't like having my admin have to do it. So I built a software platform to automate it. And then when I built it, I was like, actually, that's pretty cool. I should probably turn that into a business by itself. And then that's when I rolled in all the other things, like the virtual mailbox and all the other things that we do now with Business Anywhere. And then I also have another company. I have a trust company in the Caribbean where we do like the foreign stuff, the offshore planning and trust administration and stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of how it happened. That's kind of how it progressed. And so now Business Anywhere is kind of like my main gig. I still do the consulting. I don't actively seek out clients, but I take referrals, and I still take clients through referrals. And then the trust company, same thing. I don't market. I don't do anything for that, but I still get, referral clients every month that come in the door, and we set up offshore companies or trust or something like that. But all my business focus is on businessanywhere.io. And we're basically just like an all-in-one platform for basically everything for your company. So company formation, registered agent service. We have a virtual mailbox product. We have banking partners in our dashboard. It's a software business, basically. You can register your company in one place. You have your virtual mailbox address, your registered agent. Your mail comes into your dashboard. You can see it online. You can open your bank accounts completely online in our dashboard. We have AI bookkeeping tools in your dashboard. You can do all your bookkeeping, your tax filings.
Oh, sweet.
I don't know, you want to register a trademark. You need a cloud phone system. You need to get a merchant account for your business. It's all in our dashboard. We're like an all-in-one platform for getting your business going. And we're very privacy focused. So like when we register entities for people, if it's legally possible in that state, not all states, it's not possible in all states, but if it's legally possible, we do not disclose any personal information about you, your home, your phone number, your address, your email, your name, anything, as long as it's legally possible. Some states have some minimum requirements. We obviously have to meet the minimum requirement legally by the Secretary of State, but we do not provide any additional information beyond what's legally necessary. So like, for example, California, if we register an LLC there, they do require us to disclose at least the LLC manager's name, but they will ask for the address and phone number and email and all this stuff of the manager, but those pieces are not actually required fields. So we only put the information in that's required for privacy reasons. So we're very privacy focused. But a lot of states, like Wyoming or Delaware or New Mexico, places like that, we don't have to disclose even your name in public record.
Yeah. What do you find like when somebody's starting up? What are like steps 1, 2, 3, 4? What are the main things that they need to do? And within that, what are the things you see the average dude like me screwing up when they just go do it through the Secretary of State or whatever?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, so there's a lot of mistakes people make there. I would say, I just had a conversation about this with somebody yesterday, but if you're starting a new business right now, the first thing you need to focus on is validating your business. And by validating your business, I mean, find somebody who wants to give you money for the thing you're doing or selling. Until you validate.
Some would call it a customer.
Some would call it a customer. Yeah. So validating your business is the only thing that really matters in the beginning. Like too many people get hung up with, oh, I need to get business cards done, or I've got to get the magnetic sign on the side of my truck before I start, or I need to have a website up and running. And in some businesses, it is necessary to have a website. Like you're not going to have an e-commerce store without a website, right?
That's key. That's key in that industry.
It's fairly important. But first of all is to validate the idea. Don't go spending money on a bunch of shit you don't need until like you have somebody saying, yeah, I like what you got going on. Let me give you some money for that. But once you hit that point, then there's like it depends on what kind of business you're in. Like if I was starting a new landscaping business or a window washing business or a house cleaning business, something that's service and it's like B2C, business to consumer, I would probably want to get that business walking on two legs before I started putting any investment in it, at least for a little bit, like a month or two or something like that. I probably wouldn't go register an LLC just yet for that, because like you got to be careful with that. Like landscaping, you have some risk things there. Like if you show up and mow somebody's yard and your mower blows a rock out and hits their 2-year-old in the forehead, you're going to get sued. I mean, you're going to get sued. And being a sole proprietorship is a terrible idea in that situation. But there's a balancing act there too. If you have like 2 yards you're mowing and they're your 2 next door neighbors, like, okay, have some common sense with this. Like, but if you're
back to the risk taking conversation, like you're going to take some risks.
Yeah. But if your first customer is like, the Walmart shopping center, okay, start a business before you send your first invoice. Like
insurance set up.
Yeah, have an LLC in place, have some insurance set up, get your EIN, have a business bank account, get a business credit card, have like some real structure in place before you start sending invoices. So it depends on the nature of the business itself. Like if you're doing e-commerce on like the Amazon platform or the Walmart marketplace or something like that, I would recommend starting the LLC from the beginning. The reason being is if that business takes off and you 6 months later decide you want to start an LLC, it is a royal pain in the ass to get Amazon or Walmart to move your seller account into the LLC's account.
Yeah, new EIN.
That it's possible. It can be done, but it's a hassle. It's a big hassle. It's so much easier to create your seller account in the LLC's name with the EIN and the bank account all together from day one if you're doing that. And I would say anytime you're going to be doing business like B2B, you're sending another company an invoice, you should be an LLC or a corporation depending on what's necessary for you. But you should be an LLC from day one because, I mean, let's be honest, even if you're that landscaper, but you're targeting like commercial properties and you get a hookup with like a commercial property manager who manages 300 properties and you send them your first invoice as like Billy Bob's Landscaping, and I live at 123 Main Street in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. It doesn't look great. Like if you don't have a proper business address and a proper business and all that stuff, and you're not going to get very far. You want to start off on the right foot with that type of thing. But if you're mowing your next door neighbor's yard and he's like, hey, I'll give you $50 to do that. Okay, maybe wait a little while to spend a few $100 to get the LLC going. Yeah. But once you get to that point, I think where you were going with this, what are the mistakes people make in like starting their business? On the legal structure side, the first mistake that everyone makes, and I say everyone, and I really mean almost everyone, is they do it themselves. They're like, I'll just register this LLC myself. I'll go to the Secretary of State's website. I'll do it myself. I don't need to pay a service to do this. Of course, I own a service that does this, but I also did consulting for a long time before I started this business. And that business, I started that business because of all the mistakes I saw for a long time.
The shit show after the fact,
it's an absolute fucking disaster that what most people do when they register their own entities. And everybody's like, I don't need to pay nobody no stinking $200. That's a waste of money. You don't understand if you don't even know the right questions to ask to make the mistakes. Like there's so many mistakes you can make on registering your business from the beginning. It's insane the things you can do wrong. And people are like, no, I just fill in the form and I submit it to the, the Minnesota Secretary of State, and that's it. But no, that's not true. You can fuck that up in like 75 different ways. I'm exaggerating a little, but you can fuck that up in a bunch of different ways. And one of the biggest things people do, one of the biggest individual mistakes people make when they are the DIY person starting their own entities is, if you've ever done it, if you've ever registered an LLC yourself, which I assume you probably have, you come to a point and it asks you, who's your registered agent? So you have to have a registered agent to register a business in any state.
I always put myself. And
yep.
You've told me that I fucked that. That's one of the 75 fuck ups that I've made.
That's the number one biggest fuck up you can make. Yeah. That's the number one biggest fuck up you can make. So anytime you're filling in the articles of organization to file it with the state, it asks you who's your registered agent. And you have a choice. You can choose, I want a CRA, a commercial registered agent. That's a company you hire and you pay. Most of the time, it's between $100 and $200 a year for most of them. Or you can be your own registered agent. Now, if you are your own registered agent, you have to put your name on the filing and your address. And most people would put their home address. Maybe you have an office. Maybe you put your office address. But regardless, it's an address that you physically appear at your stuff is happening. You go to sleep there at night, or you go to work there during the day. And you have just exposed in permanent record forever where you live. Forever. And when I say forever, I mean literally forever, because once you register that business, even if you dissolve that business a year later, it's still in the Secretary of State database forever and ever. You could go right now. Wyoming is the first state that created LLCs. It was the original LLC was created in Wyoming. They're the first state with LLC statutes. It was created in 1977. You can go right now on the Wyoming Secretary of State website and pull up the articles of organization for the very first LLC that was created in Wyoming in 1977. And you can read everything they submitted. That business has not been around in a very long time, but you can still read the person's name on there, who was the registered agent, where it was addressed, the name of the company, who the principals were of the company. You can see everything in there. And it's the same for every single state. So once you register that business yourself, you just expose your home address. Now, everybody, like a lot of people are like, yes, so what? So what? I don't care. I don't care. I'm a tough guy. I don't care.
Cool. I'm cool, man.
I'm cool. I don't care. Well, I don't know. My brain works like this. I look at things in a different way, mainly because
you're grabbing your notebook and you're writing down the worst case scenario.
Part of it, I look at this stuff because I've seen worst case scenarios with clients for a long time. And but there's all types of crazy situations that can happen. I mean, God forbid, let's say, someone has really nefarious intent against you or your spouse or your kids or whatever. And they're like, hey, I know that Dan guy, he runs a window cleaning business in Cleveland. What's the name of Dan's? Let's go on Dan's website. Oh, that's Dan Window Cleaning LLC. Oh, well, let's go on the Ohio Secretary of State's website and look up Dan's Window Cleaning LLC in Ohio. Well, lo and behold, who's the registered agent? Oh, look, Dan. Dan's the registered agent. What's the address for that company? Oh, that's a residential address. Let me pull that up on Google Maps. Yeah, I don't like that guy. That guy's an asshole. I'm going to go to that guy's house, knock on his door. Like, that kind of thing is legitimately can happen. And people don't think like that. Like, it's mind-blowing. I'll give you a great example. And I don't remember if I gave you the example on our call before or not. But I love this example because of the irony and the timing it all happened. I think it was 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. In the same month, I had two separate people call me, okay? One of them was an existing client. We registered their company. The other guy was not a client, but he was referred to me who had just got sued. Both of them had just got sued. Both of them had been in a class action lawsuit. Both of them had a supplement business. Both of them, their LLCs were registered in Florida. And both of these phone calls happened in the same month. I had this
was it the same lawsuit or two different lawsuits? It just happened.
Two different lawsuits. But the irony was mind-blowing. Okay, so I'll give you Exhibit A. Example A is my existing client. We registered his company some years earlier, maybe 5 years earlier. And we are the registered agent. So if you go on the Florida Secretary of State website, SunBiz, it's called SunBiz. So you go on the SunBiz website and you look up his company. His name is nowhere on there. You wouldn't find it, okay? Because we're the registered agent. Our company name is on there as registered agent and organizer of the company. Our address is on there as the registered address of the company. So he got served, or we got served on behalf of his company because we're the registered agent. And so in our dashboard, basically, when we receive mail of any type, it gets scanned and uploaded to your dashboard. He gets a notice that he got a piece of mail. He looks at it and he goes, oh, shit, I got sued for whatever. I don't remember the amount of money. He got sued. He gets me on a consultation call and he's like, hey, Bobby, what should I do about this? And I said, well, let me tell you what I would do in this situation. So If you don't know, it was a class action lawyer. And if you don't know what those guys are, that's an entire business model of fucking parasites. That's all it is. It's a business of parasites. And what they do is those law firms, they'll go out and find products and look for clients that maybe had a problem with that product. And then they'll convince those clients, 100 of them, 1,000 of them, 10,000 of them, whatever, that, hey, we think you've been harmed by this product. So we're going to sue this company for you, and we're going to get you a whole bunch of money. Well, all these people,
they find enough, they start running shitty ass TV commercials to convince more people.
They run TV ads, they run ads online, Google ads. I've seen Google ads for this stuff. Have you been injured by XYZ company? Like, it's stupid. So the law firm, the class action law firm, literally goes out and finds problems. It's not a problem that somebody calls a lawyer and say, hey, I took this supplement and got sick. I want to sue this company. That's not the way it works. It's the lawyer finds the problem and finds people who want to get free money is what it is. It's a parasitic racket is what it is. They're almost as bad as government employees. Let's put it that way. Not quite, but they're close. They're close.
Yeah.
They're almost as bad as Minnesota ICE agents. How about that?
Oh, yeah, those guys are ruthless. They're bad. I don't know if they mean to be bad, but they're bad. They're not good at what they're doing.
They're just drawn to it. So basically, this guy got a lawsuit, and he calls me. What should I do? And I said, look, if I were you, I would sit on this and ignore it for a couple of months. The reason being is that law firm, that class action law firm, they're not getting paid to do that legal work. The only way they get paid is on a contingency. So if they sue him and win, let's say $1 million, the law firm gets $500,000 and they split the other $500,000 between whatever, 5,000 people or however many people are on the lawsuit. And so the law firm only gets paid with winning. So I told him, I said, I would park this and sit on it for a couple of months because most of the time with class action lawyers, they don't work for too long without getting paid. What they're hoping is you answer that email and then they got their hook in you, right? They got that hook in you. And once their hook is in you, you've responded. Now they got you. You got to deal with this. So I said, look, ignore it for a couple of months. And then if they don't keep mailing you letters, then it's gone. They gave up. And that's exactly what he did. The reason he was able to do that is because they didn't know who he was. They didn't know the owner of the business. Yeah, they didn't know where he lived. Letters. They didn't know where the office was. So they couldn't serve him personally and name him personally in the lawsuit. Now, let's move over to Exhibit B. Exhibit B is the guy that was not my client. He was referred to me. He called me up, and he wanted to know if there's anything he could do about this lawsuit.
Yeah, or shit, it's happening.
He had an oh shit moment. Is there anything I could do about this, or is there anything I could do to protect myself moving forward? And exact same situation, class action lawsuit, supplement company, Florida. Except he registered his own LLC. He was the registered agent, him and his wife. He doubled down on stupid. He put both his wife's name and his name as registered agent on the filing. Yeah, just to cover all the bases of stupidity. He put both him and his wife's name as registered agents and his home address. So what happened was the class action lawyer looked up the company online, sued the company, but saw his name and his home address. They added him personally to the lawsuit. So guess what? The process server comes on, knocks on your door around 6:30, 7 o'clock at night while you're at home having dinner. You answer the door, process server goes, ta-da, you've been served. Now he's been served both personally and for the company. And he's on the hook. They got the hook in. So he ended up having to settle his lawsuit for, it was close to $1 million. Now, the thing that blew me away about this, talking to this guy in our consultation, the guy told me, after explaining what happened to him and how we could prevent it in the future, The guy told me, and by the way, it was not a complicated thing. This is basically, we needed to dissolve his company and start a new one with us as the registered agent. Now, there's other asset protection things we can do. There's a whole world of asset protection planning out there, a whole lot of cool, exciting, creative strategies we can get into. But the most basic thing he needed to do was dissolve that company, start a new one. We'll start it for him with us as registered agent, so his name is not in public record. That was the most basic thing. Our registered agent fee is $147 a year. And he told me, no, it's not worth it.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Bro, I'm not kidding you. He told me, he said, that's such a waste of money when I can be the registered agent. And I'm like, bro, you know the whole reason you just got served and got sued personally, you and your wife personally, and the business. The whole reason that happened is because you were your own registered agent. And he goes, yeah, but it's such a waste of money to pay somebody to be a registered agent. You guys don't do anything other than receive our mail. And I'm like, yes, and we keep you out of public record.
That's worth $147 a year. That's
and he'd been in business for maybe 5 years. So we're talking $750 over 5 years. He ended up, like I said, he ended up settling that for close to $1 million, like $800 some odd thousand.
That's crazy. So here's my next question for you, which you maybe just answered, but let's say somebody's listening and or they're me and they're like, oh shit, Bobby, I didn't set it up this way. What is the next course of action? Like if you are your own registered agent and the business is at your house, or you're registered, or you're the registered agent and it's your home address, then what? Like, do you have to create a new business? Can you go back and do anything else? What are the steps?
You're only, so we'll do this in, option A, B, C, like this. Option A, your best case scenario is dissolve your existing entity and start over using a CRA, a commercial registered agent. That's your best option because, like I said, that if you've got Acme Industries LLC that you created yourself, if you go on right now the Minnesota Secretary of State website and you pull up your entity on the Secretary of State, you can see the historical record from the very first filing you did when you registered, when you filed your very first articles of organization. So no matter what, if I know Dan has or owns or works at or whatever, Acme Industries LLC, I can go look up Acme Industries LLC and I could look at your very first filing 5 years ago or 10 years ago, whenever you started it. And I can always see your name was on there, your home address, or whatever address you used, I can see it. Even if today you're like, oh shit, let me just go hire a registered agent to get it out of public record, it will change the easily visible public record.
There's still a breadcrumb trail out there.
There's still a breadcrumb trail. So option A is to dissolve and start over. Option B would be to hire a professional registered agent now and move it over to the professional registered agent, because then at least if I go to the Secretary of State website and look up Acme Industries LLC on the public record filing that I can see on the page on the screen. I don't know if you've ever looked it up, but you can look at it, and on that page it'll only show your current registered agent. If I wanted to see the historical record, I would have to dig a bit deeper to find it, but it is there. It is there. So if I really want to find it, I'll find it. So option B is not as good as option A, but I would say, like, if you had a business with, like, let's say you had a government contract or multiple government contracts, option A is really not going to be viable for you, because your government contract, if you go to them and say, hey, I needed to start a new LLC, I want to change this contract into this new LLC. Most government agencies, they're not going to redo your contract. They'll just be like, yeah, we'll find somebody else. Like,
yeah,
they're so nonchalant about it. They have no personal connection. They just don't care. So if you had like these big government contracts, stuff like that, option A is probably not a viable solution for you. I would do option B though, because it's better than not doing anything.
Yeah.
So that's basically it. Start over. And then you also, if you want to go option A, you're going to be better off doing a full dissolution of that first entity. Don't just let it get administratively dissolved, because that can also cost you some extra time and money, and it stays in public record longer like that.
Do you DBA the original business name back to yourself in the new entity? Like, so you don't have to rebrand, right? You just need to change the entity.
You could, if you wanted to keep your brand. Yeah. I mean, that's still potentially going to have like a connection to that old LLC. If you were a clever private investigator, let's say you've got Acme Industries LLC doing business as Dan's Window Washing, and you're like, I got to close that old thing, and I'm going to create, I don't know, Blue Sky Industries LLC, but then I'm going to DBA Dan's Window Washing again. If you had a legal DBA, or your first entity had that legal name of Dan's Window Washing LLC, and somebody goes on the Secretary of State website and pulls up Dan's Window Washing LLC, they're going to see Dan's Window Washing LLC dissolved, and then they're going to see Dan's Window Washing DBA for, what'd I say? Blue Sky LLC. And so if they were clever, if they were a clever private investigator, they'd probably go look at the historical record of the dissolved Dan's Window Washing LLC, and try to make you can't make the legal connection, but like there's no way to legally connect them, but
you can figure out with your homework what the hell's going on.
You might be able to do a little homework and figure that out. Yeah. But DBAs, by the way, like I'm not a big fan of having a registered DBA for privacy reasons unless you absolutely need it. And really the only reason you need a registered DBA, about the only reason you need a registered DBA, is if you have clients paying you in check.
I suppose. Yeah, because your bank's going to need it.
Your bank's going to need, yeah. So if you had Blue Sky LLC DBA Dan's Window Washing, if somebody writes you a check to Dan's Window Washing, and you don't have a registered DBA, the bank's not going to take the check.
Yeah.
But if you don't have anybody paying you with a check, I don't recommend doing a registered DBA. But I do recommend using a unregistered trade name. So you could still call it Dan's Window Washing.
Yeah, I never thought about not registering it. That's interesting.
So you can do like a Dan's Window Washing as a trade name. So like, let's say everyone pays you by credit card and you use Stripe, for example. So in Stripe, in your Stripe dashboard, you can go in and change the business name of the thing they see on their credit card statement. So it doesn't matter if it's whatever I said, Blue Sky Industries LLC, but you can put in there Dan's Window Washing as the merchant in your payment processing, and on their credit card they're going to see Dan's Window Washing. So you don't need to have that as a registered DBA.
Yeah.
I don't recommend a registered DBA for privacy reasons.
Yeah.
Unless you get checks. That's it.
I was gonna say, after everything you said, it's like that seems stupid to register it. Like,
you don't want to. Yeah, you really don't want to. So from a privacy standpoint, first of all, let's talk about asset protection just for a minute. Asset protection is a multi-layered approach to protecting your wealth, your business, and your other assets. And I'm a huge believer in don't own anything in your own name. And by anything, I literally do mean anything. I mean your car, your boat, your lake house, your beach house, your primary residence. Do not own anything in your own name. From an asset protection standpoint, I look at it like this. It's like an old medieval castle in Scotland. So you've got, what do they all have? They have a moat around the castle, right? You got a drawbridge, you got a big wall, you have an interior wall, right? You have multiple layers of protection before you get to, you know, the real castle in the middle,
Tower.
right?
Yeah.
Before you get to the tower where Rapunzel lives, I guess. But
there's definitely a hot chick up there. There's got to be.
Definitely a hot chick with long
Why
blonde
else
hair.
would you build all that shit?
Yeah, obviously. So asset protection is kind of like that. It's a multi-tiered approach. And the first tier is privacy. Because if let's say you have a Super Bowl party at your house. You got a bunch of people over. One of your buddies drives home drunk, kills somebody on the way home, and that family sues your buddy, and they're going to sue you too because they're going to find out. I mean, he was drunk driving. The first thing they're going to ask is, where was that guy drinking? And they're going to hold that place, whether it's a bar, restaurant, or you, responsible for over-serving and letting them drive home drunk because he killed somebody, right? So you're going to get sued for a bunch of money. Well, if I was the family, if I was the lawyer of that family, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a record search on you to see how big that pot of gold is at the end of the rainbow. That's the very first thing I'm going to do. So, and a lot of those guys will take those cases, like those lawyers, like those personal injury lawyers, which they're right up there with class action lawyers, by the way. They're also scumbags.
Yeah. They're working their angles.
Yeah, they're also scumbags. But so if you got that personal injury lawyer, very often they take those on contingency on how much they can get out of you in the lawsuit. So what'll happen is that lawyer, if I was the personal injury lawyer, first thing I would do, I'd do a record search on you. Let's see, does Dan have any real estate in his name? Does he have any cars registered in his name? Let's pull up his credit report. Oh, I see here he's got a house. I can see that in public record. Here's a tax value of $1 million. Oh, okay. Oh, I see on his credit report he's got a mortgage of $300,000. Well, I automatically know now he's got a net worth of at least $700,000, right? Oh, I see here he's got a loan, a car loan on an Aston Martin. I don't know. I'm just making shit up. Okay, well, he must make enough money to go buy an Aston Martin. Oh, I see here he has an Amex black card. Oh, a black card. Okay, so I can build a financial picture of you through public record searches, right? Well, the reason I say never own anything in your own name is because that's the moat around your wealth picture. Yeah. Is if I do a record search on you and you don't have anything in your own name, I'm going to be scratching my head going, maybe this guy's got something, or maybe he doesn't own anything. Maybe this guy's super broke. Well, you know what? I'm going to go back to my client and I'm going to tell them, hey, I'd love to take your case, but I can't do it on contingency, but I will do it with a $20,000 retainer. And very often, that's a big enough roadblock where the client says, I don't have 20 grand, so never mind. Let's not sue this guy. Or let's just sue him for the limits of his car insurance or his homeowner's insurance or something like that. And by having that privacy wall around your assets, it just kind of keeps those predators at bay. They don't really know what you own.
So with your personal assets, like with business assets, you can create a different entity and like pay yourself rent. With personal assets, do you put it in a trust, or what's the move to protect personal things that aren't revenue generating, so to speak?
Depends on the assets. So like my brokerage account, my taxable brokerage account's in an LLC. I don't own it in my own name. I would never own anything of value in my own name. My condo I have in North Carolina, it's in an LLC's name. I mean, I own it outright though. I don't have a mortgage on it, so it's easy to put it into an LLC if you own it outright. If you have a mortgage on your property,
in the loss.
Yeah, well, if you have a mortgage on the property, most mortgages have a clause in there called a due on sale clause. What a due on sale clause says is if you change ownership of that property, the bank can call that loan and make you pay it off right away. So by moving it into an LLC, that theoretically could trigger a due on sale clause. Now, it's very rare that a bank will actually trigger the due on sale clause as long as you pay your mortgage, because who cares? They still have the property's collateral and they have you as a personal guarantee anyway. So it's very rare they would. But if you want to be safe, then what you'd want to do is put the house into a land trust, and then you would make an LLC the beneficiary of that land trust, because a land trust cannot, by law, cannot trigger a due on sale clause. So that would be the go-to move if you have a mortgage on your house. But so what you have, if you live at 123 Main Street, you create a land trust called 123 Main Street Land Trust, and now you, in public record, do not own that house. No one can pull up and see what house Dan owns. Like,
I fucked up a lot of stuff, Bobby. I need to go back. I'm gonna hit the rewind button. We're gonna go back a few years.
Everybody fucks this up. Everybody fucks it up because you don't know.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that hasn't. Everybody I know has fucked this up.
Yeah, I mean, everybody fucks this up. And, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, this just seems like overkill. This is crazy. Why would I do all this stuff? But the thing is, like, none of these things are difficult or expensive things to do. Like,
yeah,
you're talking about a couple $100 for an LLC, a few $100 to a one-time fee of a few $100 to draft a land trust. That's it. This is not big money. This is not like, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars to put these structures in place to protect yourself. I mean, there are things that are more expensive, like if you want an offshore trust, that costs a lot more money. And depending on the size of your estate and, you know, how much business and assets and stuff you got, that might be a legitimate solution for you. Like I had a client earlier this morning, and they're like, can we set up an offshore trust? And I told them straight up, I said, look, you don't have the money for it.
Yeah, it's not worth it. It's like getting taxes and S corp. I talked to some people. I'm like, maybe next year. Like,
I told them straight up. I'm like, you guys don't have enough money to justify the fees to set up an offshore trust. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. If you really, really want one, I'll definitely sell it to you. But I don't think it's a good idea for you.
Yeah, someday. There's a day.
So, I mean, there's a million strategies you can use. Like one of my most fun, and I know we are way long on this, but whatever. One of my most fun strategies for real estate, especially, I would always have the property not in my name. First of all, always, always and forever. You never want to have any significant asset in your name, because the example I explained, it's easy to pull it up in public record and see how much money you got. It's super easy to do that. So first thing, put the house, even if it's your primary residence, put it in an LLC or put it in a land trust with an LLC as the beneficiary. It's cheap and easy to do that. But if you really want to have fun with this, you really want to layer on the protection, there's another thing we can do called a friendly lien. I love this strategy. I've done this before. I have a friendly lien on my property in North Carolina right now on purpose. So what it is, let's say you go buy a house for $500,000. And let's say you pay cash for it. But you want to protect the equity in that house. You're like, I really don't, if I get sued or something happened to this house, I don't want to lose money. I don't want to lose my equity in this house. So like, for example, even if you bought that house for cash and you bought it in an LLC's name, yes, you're shielded from that. No one's going to know on paper that you own it as long as the LLC is done correctly. By the way, if you listen to this and you think, I'm going to go out and register this LLC to put my house in, but I don't want to pay the $200, so I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to register that LLC myself. You're doubly stupid, because then you're the registered agent of the LLC. So you're still connected to the house.
You're still right there.
And you did all this work, and you drafted a quitclaim deed, and you created an LLC and did all this for absolutely nothing. So you're basically doubly stupid to do it yourself in this scenario. But if you did it the right way, you had like a proper LLC with a registered agent, you're not connected to it, you're not in public record, the LLC owns the house is worth $500,000. And something happens at the house itself, they're going to sue the LLC because the LLC owns the house. They theoretically could take the house if the value of the lawsuit was big enough, or they could get a lien against the house. Let's say it's a $100,000 lawsuit, they could put a lien against it. So the way you protect against that is what's called a friendly lien. And this is so much fun. So what you do is you create another LLC. That LLC takes a lien out against your house. It looks like a mortgage or a second mortgage if you had a first mortgage on it.
Yeah.
And in this scenario, what I would do is I would create a second or a lien on the house for like $1 million. Okay. If it's $500,000 house, I'd probably create the lien for $1 million because you want to plan for future appreciation of the property.
Mm-hmm.
And so that lien would sit in any position in front of any future lien that might happen. So now something happens at your house. I don't know, some jackass falls down your stairs and sues you for $100,000. And he wins. Well, they're like, well, we're going to get a lien against your house. All right, great. Get a lien against my house.
First, we got this $1 million one.
Yeah, we got to pay off this $1 million one first. And you'll get whatever's left, which happens to be absolutely nothing. Okay. Yeah. Well, it just so happens that first position lien is held by an LLC in, I don't know, New Mexico, that your name is nowhere associated with it. So that's a really fun one. I really love doing friendly liens. So much fun.
That is, I mean, it's just goofy, but it is fun. I like it.
It's goofy, but it's easy. It's not hard to do. This is not like $10,000 to set this stuff up. This is literally like a few $100, and you have completely protected your home.
How, Bobby, we got to wrap this baby up at some
point.
I know. But the important thing is, how the hell does somebody get a hold of you? Like you got a lot of good shit to share. How does somebody carry on the conversation and protect their stuff?
BusinessAnywhere.io is the easiest way to reach out to us. My consulting business is globalwealthprotection.com. But most of my business goes through BusinessAnywhere.io right now. That's the easiest way to reach out to us.
I saw my guy Jai jumped in here right at the end, and he was like, hey, I missed the part where Dan has to take a sip of his favorite beer. Jai is the one that produces the show. So Jai, if you're watching still, now you got the links. Jai will put the links in the notes.
Yeah, right on. Cheers, Jai.
We got it. Bobby, any closing comments, any closing thoughts, any words for us, words of wisdom? You dropped a ton of value, so I don't know that you got. What is there any juice left in the squeeze?
Yeah, the only thing I like to tell, especially new business owners, is you only fail when you quit. So stick at it. It's worth it. You made an excellent point earlier. Like you made more money in your job than you did in your own business for like it took you 10 more years to duplicate.
Embarrassingly, it was a decade. That was also my fault in a partnership where I
but I don't even need to ask you this, but I know 100% you would not have traded that decade for anything because you had a completely different lifestyle running your own business instead of going to live in China working for the man. You were building your own dream. You were chasing your own goals. You were working from home mostly and spending more time with the family, kids, all that stuff. And running your own business, it's worth it. It's not for everyone, but if it's for you, stick with it, man. Stick with it. Like the only way you ever fail is when you quit. Just keep plugging at it. All of us fail, but you got to keep going.
It is like that. It is exactly everything you just said.
Yeah.
No corrections. Exactly. All right. Business nerds, you guys know what to do. Work smarter and harder. Go earn some pride. Bobby, man, that was fun. Thanks. I appreciate the combo.
All right, Dan. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Likewise. Nighty night. We'll catch you later. Peace out, guys.